Welcome back to Gameday Tarps podcast, episode 21. We have a packed episode today. So much news has happened, but let's just start off with how you're doing, boys.
Pretty good, man.
Doing pretty good, Riley.
Awesome. I'm wearing this today. Not a fan, but Jim Harbaugh's back in the league. That's a positive thing, as long as he's not cheating, potentially like he was at Michigan. But I'm pumped to see him back in the league. Hopefully, maybe we'll get another Harbaugh Bowl, and could be some interesting times. See if he can make Justin Herbert and the Chargers an actual threat, rather than just kind of an excitement sideshow for the first half of the year, and then they suck.
Yeah, you definitely don't want another. But yeah, because he brought San Francisco to the finals once, and then was that the end of his career? Was that Super Bowl?
I think he went a couple more years after that, but yeah, losing to his brother basically derailed him, made him run away to college.
At least he won it in college.
True. Got his confidence back to come back, try and beat his brother.
Yeah, no, that's definitely good for the Chargers, I think. Try to make Herbert great again, you know?
I think it was better than Bill Belichick because he's shown he's not so good with a more like new age quarterback.
Well, even the Falcons, I think, who were one of the teams pursuing Belichick, decided to not go the Belichick route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he'll be looking for a new project himself.
True. All right, let's get into this because there's a lot going on in the hockey world in the last week. It has been absolute insanity. But we'll start off with some sad news, hopefully something that'll turn out positive. I just read this today. But it's from Baie-Comeau Drakkar defenseman Emil Chouinard has been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So hopefully we can hear some positive news on him in the next year or so, that he's in remission or whatever, that he beats this like most hockey players have, and we end up with a good result on his end.
Best wishes.
All right. We now have, Bob McKenzie's pretty much in retirement, but he still does his draft rankings and his draft list. So we have Bob McKenzie's top 10. He has Macklin Celebrini, number 1, Anton Saleyev, number 2, Anton Levshunov, number 3, Cole Iserman, 4, Caden Lindstrom makes his debut in the top 5, Ivan Demidov, number 6, Sam Dickinson, number 7, Consta Hellenius, number 8, Zane Perrick, number 9, making his debut in the top 10, and Berkeley Catton, number 10. What do you guys think about that top 10? And I have something on Perrick in a sec because it's crazy.
I think it's a pretty solid top 10.
Yeah, I don't really have any arguments with his top 10.
Yeah, so I read today, Zane Perrick graduated high school at 15 years old and started going to Toronto University at the age of 15 years old. He's just wicked smart, this kid, apparently. Here he is, top 10 in the NHL draft. He's 18, so he's like a junior in university right now. It's just good for him. Like, what an absolute wild stat.
For the CHL, I know they have, or the WHL anyways, I've noticed the Scholastic Award. Is that CHL or is it just WHL?
It's CHL.
It's CH, so you can win CHL Scholastic Player of the Award, but you can also win like QMJHL, OHL, and WHL Scholastic Player.
He should just automatically get it.
True, but I don't.
They also do Player of the Week too.
Yeah, it is like it's high school, so maybe he doesn't even qualify because he's so far ahead of them. But who knows? He deserves it. You're right. But
each league does their own. Each league does their own Scholastic Player of the Week nominee too, as well. Just like you would have like your normal Player of the Week for performance, they also do Scholastic Player of the Week for performance in the classroom.
Well, if he's already graduated, how do you give him Scholastic Player of the Week?
Well, maybe not the graduated players, the ones that are still going through school, is what I'm trying to say.
That's so tough though, because it's like, how do you win Scholastic Player of the Week? Like, say you're on the Blazers, and then you go on like a 17-day road trip to Saskatchewan and back. Like, you're not winning Scholastic Player of the Week any of those days
Well,
you're
I'm
gone,
I'm
because
sure
you're
they
not
do
even
like
there.
a lot of their tutoring on the road though, wouldn't they not?
Yeah, they do, but
In
still,
their
it's
schooling,
like
so
there has to be some kind of attendance in there as well, and you're not attending school for 2-3 weeks, just doing it on the bus. Okay, we have the biggest hockey news since 2022, the 2018 World Junior Team Canada Championships. Now, we are definitely, I just want to prefix this by saying we are not blaming, we are not saying that the puzzle pieces are what they say they are, but we are just going to discuss the facts of what has happened, the players who are involved, and we will let people kind of speculate from there. But as far as it looks like, 5 players have been said to be asked to turn themselves into London PD. 5 players from that team have taken leaves of absence, and no one else has. That is Dylan Dube of the Calgary Flames, Carter Hart of the Philadelphia Flyers, from the New Jersey Devils, both Cal Foote and Michael McLeod, and from the Swiss League, Alex Formenton. So Formenton was not signed because I think teams knew that this was happening. He's clearly an NHL player, but I think that they knew that this news was coming for him. He's the only one that we've seen that didn't make a statement, didn't acknowledge this, didn't do anything. So he clearly is saying that, he was involved somehow. Unfortunately, it seems that way. But yeah, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit more. They say February 5th, the Monday, is going to be their big press conference from the London Police Department on all of this. But with the way that it's looking, with no more merchandise, like Flyers fans had their home game, no Carter Hart jerseys available in the store, so it's not looking promising. Again, we can't accuse because you're proven, or you're innocent until proven guilty. But as of right now, everything is pointing in the direction that these 5 guys are in a lot of trouble, and it's not looking so good on their end. But what are your guys' thoughts on this happening this week? Just bang, bang.
Well, I know Calgary is actually under a lot of scrutiny for releasing Dube Statement as a leave to search for mental health, or mental help, sorry. And the rest were leaves of absence.
Yeah. Yeah, I
well,
saw
not
that
only
people
to
were. Go ahead, Doug.
not only to mention that we're on the outside looking in on this situation, like people were saying like unnamed players, but then you make your own speculations because obviously we just said the players who were given leaves of absences, like we all know who they are, but you also have to look at it as an internal affair. Like the hush money that was being paid out by the top of the pyramid here for Hockey Canada, the hush money they're calling it. Like, yeah, last year the board of governors for Hockey Canada all stepped down, but it's like that's not enough. Like they should be charged too of keeping this under wraps. Like this is a very serious matter, and to be paying off the victim with hush money, so and so, and I think they should be charged too. Like this is a huge situation. Covering something like this up. That's bad. That's horrible.
Well, it's bribery, first off.
It is.
And second off, even though there was no police investigation, but technically it was interfering with a police investigation. By not reporting it, you're interfering, right? So, to
London
me,
police
that
had to
added up.
reopen the case.
Exactly. But now this is real. I saw more heat on the 2003 team as well, that they're ramping up more about the 2003 team potential sexual assault victims that they were talking about. So now that team could have. Now, again, the only guy left in the league from that team, I think, is Corey Perry, maybe Marc-Andre Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury was a part of that too, yeah.
We're looking at 2 or 3 guys. So it doesn't have serious ramifications in terms of career like it did for these young guys, but it could have criminal incrimination if it does come down to it.
Well, and it's like, I don't understand why Hockey Canada would get so butthurt about the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League cutting their registration fees being sent back to Hockey Canada, when in turn Hockey Canada was using that registration money from everybody to cover up and pay off the victims of this sexual assault. Like this, that's not how you do business. That is not how you do hockey. And Hockey Canada has just made it an absolute mockery and a disgustful taste on their reputation as a governing body. Like, Hockey Canada should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for what they've been doing.
Well, it looks bad on Hockey Canada, and it looks bad on the country of Canada as a whole, because I know, let's say the same thing was with the States, or even any other country for that matter. You know how hard, like, we as a country would probably be harping down on this, like, this needs to be figured out, blah, 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 and so, and like, and then now what's happening to Canada and now being revealed. So it's disgusting. It's embarrassing.
Imagine if this happened in Canada, but it was Team Russia. Like if this girl went to a Team Russia room and it was 8 Russian players, like what would Hockey Canada and what would the Prime Minister and what would the call to arms have been like to get those players arrested, right? Just because they were from another country. Instead, they hushed it right up and protected it. For like the Prime Minister, as far as I know, never even knew because it was just completely shoved under the rug.
And they were hoping it would stay shoved under the rug, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the information I heard, I mean, again, take it with a grain of salt, is the victim was offered $400,000 to keep quiet and then ended up going to the cops regardless.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I heard something in that ballpark as well, if that is the true story. Hopefully that's true, but again, we're just reverberating what we've heard.
And I mean, at this point, like, good. Let the world know that, you know, this is happening.
Justice is coming.
Exactly. So then you go back to the 03 team where this apparently happened, and now we also have someone who was right in that age group again, Mike Ribeiro, facing up to 20 years for sexual assault of 3 women. So it's like, how often does this happen that it doesn't go talked about? All of a sudden, this is just like 2 Team Canada teams. Now another decorated Canadian player. How far is this going to spiral? How many women are going to start coming out and being like, yep, this time in this city, these guys, like, is it just going to start piling? Like, once this girl makes money off this trial with the Team Canada World Juniors and these 3 women win this trial versus Ribeiro, if they do, like, if they win these trials and there's millions of dollars paid out, just watch how many people are going to step forward and start saying.
Think of the Chicago Blackhawks scandals going on, like.
Yep.
With Kyle Beach even, but you know, it's just more people should be coming forward. Justice will be getting served, and it's a good thing. Like, you know, can we say we're sorry for those involved, the players? No, because you know what you did, and now your time is coming. So, you know, all the best wishes to the victim. Hopefully they have closure on this come, you know, the next update from the London police. So
I think the most damning thing, even though it's not an excuse whatsoever, is it seems like there was absolutely zero alcohol involved in the 2018 World Junior team too. Like, this was full cognizant men making a decision on a woman in a vulnerable position and taking advantage of it. Like, it
was a group sexual assault.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more cut and dry than that for the police. They were like, oh, you guys were totally aware of what you were doing, and like, what do you do? The girl was allegedly drunk, right? Like, we heard that the girl was allegedly drunk, and there's some videos or something about her being intoxicated. But again, it's hearsay. We don't know yet. Nothing's been officially recognized. But again, that there's a drunk girl and probably 5 to 8 sober guys taking advantage of her. It's like,
I remember hearing a report there were 8, and now it's got numbered down to 5.
Well,
it probably has something to do with It probably has something to do with like maybe who was there, but who was also actually doing the actions.
Yeah.
There could have been
Yeah.
3 guys kind of off to the side, being like, just watching it going down. Which I mean, is still kind of sick and kind of disturbing because
Yeah.
you
But
could
like
have been, yeah.
we talked about off camera, like you try being in a peer pressure room, right? If you're one of the guys who didn't know this was going on, and then this girl shows up, and all of a sudden the shit starts going down, and you're just like, whoa, like what is going on here? And you and 2 other guys are like, I don't know. And then they're not, allegedly, they weren't letting the girl leave. So obviously the boys are like, yo, man, like no one's allowed to leave right now, but I'm not touching her. Like, so she probably said, hey, there was 8 boys in the room, but boy ABC didn't actually engage in the conduct. They weren't forceful. They weren't harmful. They were just kind of like, honestly, like, what the hell is going on in the corner? But 5 engaged in this.
You're
And
still
I
in
think
you're still an accessory though. Like one of them doesn't matter if you're like doing the action right. You should still have brought it up, no matter what. It's either you get repercussions from your teammates or you get repercussions from the authorities. Like this is some serious stuff, and you just don't hide it like that. Like this is someone's life we're talking about that can be damaging.
you got to
Like this
remember,
should
though,
have just been brought up.
they have agents. Agents are connected to lawyers, and they bring it up saying, hey, like this went down. Like, I don't know. Like, yes, I was there. Their agent says, okay, let me talk to a lawyer about this. And the lawyer says, hey, honestly, you open your mouth on them, this could kill your career too. And it's like, you have to pick. You open your mouth or you let it slide. And I'm assuming they all were like, I want to play in the NHL.
What a dirty crossroads that is. Holy hell.
Well, that's the way the justice system is. You don't open your mouth, right? You don't. If you don't confess, then you're not guaranteed guilty. It's the second you say, "Hey, I was here and this happened," you automatically put yourself straight in the crossfire. So I think that they just all had a little brotherly blood pact going on, and keep your mouth shut, I'll keep mine shut type deal.
Yeah, it's definitely also a locker room thing too, I think.
Oh, for sure.
You don't want to cause any heat between you and the boys on the team, so still an unfortunate situation to be put in.
Well, like
Yeah.
our boss said there the other day, who was a Kamloops Blazer, so he played in the WHL. He was like, those idiots know that they could have went home and had any girl in the town that they play in and been just fine, but nope, they had to do this stupid thing to this one girl for no reason. Like, and he's not wrong. Like, it's well known, like puck bunnies are alive and well in junior hockey. There are girls that will do whatever, and there are older women that will do whatever, and it's
why
just a part of it.
why share the same one? Like go find
Yeah.
your own, boys. Like that's not that hard.
And then
Yeah,
there's also
especially-
like consensual and non-consensual. So
Yeah, like you guys just won the gold medal. There would be hundreds of girls waiting in London. It's London, Ontario.
Well, hey,
Like,
look at Nathan McKinnon.
It's London, Ontario.
Look at Nathan McKinnon the other night, boys. He got a hat trick, and literally bras and panties were thrown onto the ice for one guy. Hundreds of women did that for one guy.
You know what? I do want. Actually, I forgot. I wanted to talk about that though, because the continued like double standard. Like, yes, what these guys did was terrible, but then they said like the same day that this whole speculation was going down, and a woman was abused, and they finally found 5 guys, and they're accusing them. Women are then throwing their bras and underwear on the ice in a hockey rink at a superstar who played for a Team Canada World Junior team. Obviously not the one in question, but a Team Canada. Like, what a bad look for women to do that when all that's going on.
Right?
Now.
You want to feel sorry for a victim, but yet women heavily throw themselves out there. Like it's, what do you do, man? It's almost like guys are kind of like, at the same time, guys are almost the victim. Like, what do you do?
I want to add to that thought though too. Like I remember there were some discussions off camera about how like the headlines of this topic were so big here in Canada, but however, maybe down south in the States, like it hasn't really reached them quite yet. So maybe like
Yeah,
those fans didn't really quite hear the headlines yet. And another
it's true.
fact too on that topic, the whole Utah expansion that we're going to get into, like maybe the owner of the Utah Jazz that brought up literally him wanting an NHL team almost coincided with the same time as this news dropped about these 5 unnamed players that are now named with Team Canada scandal. Like people were going haywire saying like, "Oh, this is just a distraction." It's like, well, you know what? Maybe the guy wasn't living on his phone in another country and the news didn't quite drop to him just yet. So maybe it's a coincidence that the two big headlines kind of coincided with each other at the same time. So you can't say it's a distraction and they didn't quite get the news just yet. So that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah, like I totally agree. Like, there's no guarantee that the people who threw stuff on the ice at McKinnon knew maybe even anything about this news. Like, I don't want to say that women don't know what's going on, but not always a guarantee that they
Oh, buddy,
knew.
McKinnon knew what was going on, buddy. His
No, no,
teammate was on that team.
the women, like the women that
Oh,
threw their stuff. Like, so, like maybe the women didn't know. They haven't been keeping up with every hockey news, right? They're just Avalanche fans, say, but they're not diehard hockey fans, so they don't know what's going on in the World Junior thing. So they think that they're having fun or whatever, which is fine. But it's like it was so poorly timed, and guys like Biznasty, Paul Bissonnette, like they were cheering it on, right? Like he's got that dog in him. Women are literally throwing themselves at him, and I was like I love Biz. There's no like Spit and Chicklets, the best podcast out there for hockey. There's no doubt about it. But I was like, you gotta read the room here, Biz. Like I know you're a hype man of all hype man, but like that's tough,
There's a
on
time and a
that day.
place, and that was not great timing.
McKinnon's response was great, saying it was inappropriate. Like,
well, and you
great
know what?
response from him.
And you know what? What if the PWHL got intense and guys started throwing their clothes on the ice for some of these women? You know what would happen? Thrown out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It would be a total.
And I bet all the women would
and-
be like, "Oh, this is disgusting." Like,
Yeah.
but hey, you're a guy hockey player and you're supposed to just accept it.
It's supposed to be exciting,
Like,
right?
what if
Double
McKinnon had
standards, I guess.
a wife and kids that saw that? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
It's so disrespectful. But he has a mom.
Well, yeah, that too.
Like he has a mom, and women are like and obviously I think, like, let's be real, Nathan McKinnon is one of the best guys in the National Hockey League. He idols himself after Crosby, one of the best guys in the National Hockey League. So I don't think Nathan McKinnon is just out there sleeping with every bimbo on the street. But at the same time, it's like a tough look when a star player is getting stuff thrown on the ice like that. Like, it just creates a narrative that doesn't need to be there for him.
Well, and then you know who's forced to clean it up? Ice girls.
Yeah.
Like, think how bad that's got to feel too.
Well, the one was smiling that was holding the bra in the one photo. She thought it was hilarious. But again, like, it's just like we're missing something here. Something is missing in this picture of everything that's going on. It's still, you can be as mad as you want about all the stuff that's going on, but then it's still praised when something sexualized happens in hockey.
Yeah.
Like,
Good point.
But I think that's enough for us on that. I think we covered it great. I think we did a good job, boys, on that and keeping it pretty respectful for all involved. But I do want to jump to what you said, Dally, about the Delta Center thing. And I just want to say, like, first off, it's business we're talking about here. Like, this is a business owner promoting his business. Second off, the World Juniors thing is a Hockey Canada. It has nothing to do with the NHL. Are the players in the NHL? Yes, 4 of them were. But it was not the NHL who's being punished in this moment. So there's no reason why someone can't come out and say, hey, we want to be in the NHL. And the release was directly from Smith Entertainment Group, who's the owner of the Utah Jazz. It was not the NHL saying, hey, this guy made a bid. It was these guys saying, we have reached out to the NHL to start the expansion process, with a whole full letter breaking down what they want, all that. It was nothing from the NHL side that started it. It was guys
and
like
third
Elliot
parties
Friedman
brought it out.
and stuff. Exactly.
Yeah, third parties.
Great reporters like Elliot Friedman brought it up because Elliot Friedman smartly was keeping his nose out of the whole Hockey Canada thing because he didn't know what the heck to say, because he doesn't want, he's a media personnel, one of the smartest media personnel who knows when to play his cards and when to hold them and wait for things to happen. So it was great to
Love
see
Elliot Friedman.
Yeah, he reported on something that mattered, which is NHL news. And I think it was great. I think he covered it well. And I think this is exciting. Like, yeah, they reported it, but at this, like, they have press releases. He's a billionaire. He has a press release in his company built in for this time on this day. It's going to be released. Like, he probably had it a week ago set up. Just had to finalize a few things. Like, there's no way he absolutely meant for this to happen right when this whole police scandal happened with London. Like, there's no way.
Well, I mean, even if it was time to be a distraction, at the same time, I feel like the whole Hockey Canada thing, like, it shouldn't have that much attention until a verdict has been made. You don't want to tarnish their reputation. Who knows, right? It could have been consensual and the girl's trying to get money. Not saying that's true, but why put so much attention on these young kids for something that hasn't reached a verdict yet? Why not bring it into something that, as a hockey fan, should excite you? Seeing another team join the league,
I want to jump in on that comment too. So I've seen some comments that the excitement of having a 33rd team, personally, I'd love it. I think Salt Lake City would be a great destination for a hockey market. I'm all for it. I also seen a lot of comments saying like, oh, the NHL is too watered down. Oh, there'd be too many teams. And it's like, well, there's two routes they could take here. One, they could get the 33rd expansion in there. Or secondly, they could get the Arizona Coyotes to move there because they have given an extended deadline on getting that arena built in North Phoenix. So I'm thinking if they don't get it built in time, that's probably what's going to happen is Arizona's going to move to Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I have a little bit to add on that. So this is a statement from this one was just a note, and then I have a statement from Marty Walsh and from Elliot Friedman. So the first note is regarding Utah's expansion request in NHL, the league would need to go through a process with the Board of Governors, which is not something that's happened yet. So we'll see where it goes as far as the next steps with the league and its owners. Then Marty Walsh, who is the NHLPA, he runs the NHLPA, said they were talking about, we're going to find a new place pretty quickly. This is Arizona. The year has gone by and they haven't found anything, at least to my knowledge. So the clock is ticking on Arizona, in my opinion. And then Elliot Friedman said, regarding Salt Lake City, to me, that's a message to the Coyotes. The NHL has basically said they need to know about Arizona by the All-Star break. Well, we're a week and a half from the All-Star break, which now we're only half a week from the All-Star break. So there we go. Like, sounds like a message sent to the Arizona Coyotes, like you said. They wanted an answer. They wanted them to actually go out and find something. Like, if you're a billionaire, let's be real, no matter where you are, you can find land to build an arena. Like, in those cities, you can buy land. There's no way that the city isn't holding on to a plot that they're not willing to sell. They just had to get someone to say, yes, you can build here. It didn't even need to be in the next 5 years. It just had to be a plan that was going to take action and start. But
why not take a page out of the NFL's book? Why not take a page out of the NFL's book? There are some teams that play with it 5 miles outside of city limits. Levi Stadium, for San Fran. They play in San Jose, I'm pretty sure, at Levi Stadium. Like, it's just, you have options, guys. You don't have to play city center in your city. You can go outside of your horizon and still label your team name after it, the city.
Yeah, I personally think Arizona's done this time around. I think there's no coming back. And
there's too many chances.
With Salt Lake saying they want the expansion, and it sucks for people who are actually Arizona Coyote fans, like the deep ones that are really there, and like Austin Matthew, who had dreams of maybe playing for the Coyotes one day. Like, that all sucks. But they keep saying it's not fair to the owners, because where they lose their money, other owners have to put in money to keep them afloat. It's an even playing field on the owner's side. So the owners are all mad. They're like, why are we losing money on a team? It makes no sense. There's Quebec City that can be a team. They'd sell out every game. There's Salt Lake
There's
wants a team.
great
Right?
options.
There's tons of cities out there that could host teams. They're talking about Atlanta again. Who knows? That one's failed twice. But, who knows? Who knows what it could be? But it's probably going to be better than whatever's going on in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean Arizona, staying or going. I'm somebody that's all for bringing in more teams because, I mean, I just think that's exciting. More guys get the chance to play, more opportunities, and I just think a bigger league would be wicked. But
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think we're watered down at all. This league keeps
No.
getting better and better.
Yeah, no.
And think of how many prospects you pull from each league around the world, right? There's plenty of players to go around.
Yeah, so I don't know where that whole the boringness comes into the play. I think it's more exciting, and yeah,
it's good for business, I think, because you're also bringing in more fans from these states or provinces that have to drive or fly, hours on end to go see an actual NHL game. So now you're kind of more centralizing and kind of expanding the boundaries a little bit more, so people can actually come in and watch your games, because you complain and night in night out of your viewership is the fourth worst in the country for sports viewership, right? This is a good opportunity business wise to bring in more fans and to expand your horizons, bring in more fans, more revenue. Bang. Like, what's the problem with this? You should be getting at least 2 more expansion teams in there. Quebec City, perfect. They should be getting talked about. Enough with this Atlanta garbage, all right? You failed. You have an AHL and you have an ECHL. Deal with it, all right? You had your NHL and you failed twice.
I think it would be the league, to me, a perfect NHL gets to 40 teams. 20 East, 20 West. And yes, you're only going to play some teams once a year, but that's fine because you need your divisional matchups for the teams that want to see the fighting and stuff, right? Because there needs to be some passion and some anger so that you're playing a team constantly enough 4 to 6 times a year. But yeah, so say Seattle and Tampa play once. Everyone says, oh, that can't happen. What about the NFL? They have 32 teams and they have it's 3 years? It's now going to be 3 years that the Steelers and Patriots don't play each other.
Well, and they only have what? How many games do they get in a year? 16?
Yeah, 18 now.
And they're in the same conference. They're in the AFC.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's some teams that might not even see each other until they make it to the Super Bowl because they don't play each other in the season.
Exactly.
But at least in the NHL, you might see those guys play each other once or twice in a season.
Exactly.
Think of this one. There's 30 teams in MLB. There's 162 games a year. Some teams don't even see each other for a couple years on end as well. So what's with the bitching about the NHL getting a few more teams?
Yeah, it can only be good. It can only be good.
It's only going to go up from here. More teams, more excitement, man. More fans.
And then there's
different
also
teams.
For everyone that says, oh, the same team always ends up in the top 10 draft picks. You get 40 teams in this league, and you have teams at the bottom. You're going to have a constant rotation of that first overall pick because it is going to be such a hard league to win in constantly. You're going to have different teams in the playoffs every year. It's going to be so much turnover. And what could be cool too is then they could then do the buys, right? So there's going to be if there's 40 teams, right? So you have 8 teams on each side for 16 that don't make it. And then you have 8 teams that do make it for 16. That's 32. And then I guess you could do one more like a wild card. That leaves 4 teams behind. And those could be the division leaders. Each division leader gets to go without having to play the first round of the playoffs. They get to heal, they get to rest, and then boom, you get the next round and bang, there you go. It could make for some, because you could get a President's Trophy winning team that comes out cold versus the 8th seed that's hot winning a round like Florida versus Boston, and all of a sudden you have game over. So I think it'll make for really interesting hockey having something like a bye. But I think they'd have to maybe shorten the first round, but I don't know. We'd see because it almost takes like a week and a half around. So that's a long time to be off for some teams, but I don't know. They'd figure it out, and it would be awesome, I think. Or you just have less teams make the playoffs than half, which is fine too.
Yeah.
All right. That was not even on our notes, but that was good talk. Cool notes for Sam Gagner. You know, he's been such a veteran NHLer. He's been floating around for a couple of years, but he's the only player in NHL history to be part of multiple 14-game winning streaks. So you have to give that guy props for, you know, just being on teams that end up going on runs. And he's contributing, obviously, so it's good to see a guy like him can both were in like the latter half of his career, not in his prime.
Edmonton did a good job re-signing him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then,
right.
I mean, I know we also bashed, I think I bashed the Perry signing, but...
You did.
Yeah, I did. I mean, again, with the way they're going and the streak they're going on, Edmonton, sorry, not the multiple team winning streak, but I mean, he's a great guy that Edmonton's probably going to rely on heavily in the playoffs.
And they won with him today, so he didn't break their record. He played his first game.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think if Edmonton lost, they would have 100% been like, oh, it's the curse. He jinxed the team, but no. So it's cool to see. As much as I hate to see Edmonton winning, it's definitely cool to see a Canadian team doing something like that. Because I think the last time I seen something like that was the dynasty of Chicago with Taves and Kane when they went on their big heater like 2011, 12 ago or something. I don't know.
Well, this 14-game winning streak wasn't long ago with Gagner in Columbus. It was in the last 5 years, for sure. But you're right. Like, for an actual good team, yeah, Chicago type run.
You would think that the Edmonton Oilers would have done something like this when they were in the Gretzky era, but we're in the McDavid era, and they're doing this.
That was kind of weird to find out too. It's like I definitely was like, they should have been able to do something like that in the Gretzky era, but no. So that's
Gretzky,
wild.
Messier, Grant Fuhr, Paul Coffey, Kevin Lowe.
The 80s Oilers,
how did that team not win 20 straight? Like, that's crazy. Okay, well, let's keep it in Chicago because they are throwing the money bags yet again. Their third $4 million 2-year contract goes to Peter Mrazek. Foligno, Dickinson, Mrazek, all 2 years. Foligno $4.5 million, Dickinson and Mrazek $4.25 million each. And that one is the worst one out of the three of them.
I have a feeling of why they did the 2 years, boys, is because after those 2-year contracts are up, guess whose contract is also up at the end of that? Connor Bedard's. And I'm sure they're going to want to reevaluate where these players are at and where the team as a whole is at and see where they're going to go from there.
It's just weird to sign the players they are to that
the term, big bags.
You know? Mm-hmm. Like, if they want to make Bedard happy, I don't know if these are the guys you want to be signing the big dollars to, though.
Jeremy Swayman's jaw hit the ground when he saw that. His arbitration got him $3 million, and then here comes Peter Mrazek, one of the worst goalies in the league. And
when was the last time Mrazek was a relevant goalie, dude?
Detroit, if that.
No, Carolina. I think it was before Detroit. Who was he drafted by? Oh, maybe it was Detroit. No. I think he did go on a nice little streak in Detroit, and then he got traded. And
are you thinking of Nedeljkovic? I'm thinking of Nedeljkovic.
No, because Mrazek was Detroit too.
Right, he was Jimmy Howard's backup. I totally forgot that.
But I think that was the last time I really seen any relevancy to that guy's name, and all these other teams got him thinking that he'd be decent.
He was drafted by the Detroit Red Wings in 2010.
Yeah. I think this is partly because they need to stay above the cap floor, and they're saying to these guys, hey, we're going to suck. We need leaders. We need guys to kind of be here through it. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the rest of your career after this. But
I mean, you know what? I can't say anything. They only held Calgary to 1 goal tonight. Chicago.
They have been doing decent. They've been winning a lot more games.
And beat us the last time we played them. So, I mean, good on Chicago. In both games, Bedardless.
Yep.
So
and when they beat you guys the first time, it was the first game they played without Bedard.
Yeah.
And everyone thought they were going to get washed. And they came out and beat you guys.
Yeah, and only hold us to 1-0 tonight. That's crazy.
Peter Mrazek was in net.
Yep.
All right, we got a contract extension here. Owen Tippett signs 8 years, $6.2 million per year, $49.6 million, and the Flyers cannot use the excuse the Blackhawks do for this contract because this one makes no sense. I know, Dak, you got some stats. Lay them on us here because this is bad.
Oh, yeah. This is a guy that hasn't even reached 50 points in a season yet within his tenure in the league. So, I don't know, like six mil for that, for a guy to be below 50% points to game ratio. I think that's a little bit of a steep price. Even if he starts, like he's going to have to, for me to think that contract's worth it, he's going to need to average like 60 to 70 points a season for the next few seasons, like it's got to be more than next season, the season after that, for me to even heavily consider this guy worth that money.
This guy only has 117 points in his entire career since, I think, 2020. All right? The most he's ever reached in a season was 75, and that was for Mississauga in the OHL. Like, this is way out of left field.
And the most he's ever reached in an actual NHL season is 49 points.
That's horrible.
You know what? I need to add this too because we added. This is irrelevant. We can talk about both. They just also signed Ryan Poehling, 2 years, $1.9 million, so $3.8 million total. I just looked him up. Ryan Poehling has 14 points in 45 games this year. Last year he had 14 points in 53 games, and then with Montreal he had 17 points in 57 games and 2 points in 27 games. And he's making $2 million. What is Philadelphia doing? They're talking about trading guys that don't have value to the team anymore. Travis Sanheim, Travis Konechny, right? Carter Hart was up apparently. They should have traded Carter Hart. And here we are now, and it's like
giving guys that have been irrelevant to the league their almost whole careers getting the bag, man.
Like what is going on in Philadelphia?
I hope they destroy themselves. Let them destroy themselves financially.
And I don't know how you feel about this one, Dally, but what are your thoughts on Parise going to the Avalanche?
You know what? I'm going to respect it. Minnesota's still paying out $3 million of his contract, and he was at the Islanders the most recent. I always liked Zach Parise, and I'm going to say is because he was an animal when he was playing on the New Jersey Devils back in the day when they were going for their cup run. All right? I love the signing. He's a veteran guy. I always had mad respect for Zach Parise, so I'm kind of excited about it, him coming to Colorado.
I like him, and I've always actually liked Parise, but I loved what Barzal said today. Oh, man, did he ever just basically punch his own team in the face. He said, everyone here loves Parise. He said, we would love to have him back. He said, but maybe if we actually won the games we should have won, and we were 10 to 15 points ahead, he would have chose to sign with us. I know he would have, but because we're no good, he didn't want to sign for us. Like, what a statement from Barzal. Like, there's a guy who's fed up being in New York.
Well, man, so many teams are speaking up on how garbage they've been. Like, have you guys been paying attention to the Kings? Doughty's been letting the team have it. Their coach is even letting the team have it, and especially on Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Oh, yeah.
He's been demoted to the fourth line now. That's how bad it is. And then he just did a sign of 8 years. God, they're hating themselves
8 years, $8.5 million. And we have Todd McLellan right here. He has to be a difference maker. And with or without the puck, we've gone through this long enough. It's time. And what was said about him in Winnipeg, it's about time he starts to show up. What was said about him in Columbus by Tortorella, if he's not going to show up, I'm not going to play him. this has been constant through this guy's career.
Well, and this kid thinks he's an all-star. Like, man, how about you zip your lips and show it then, and you're not. You, like, if I'm a coach, man, like, you're benched. Unless you start showing me something, you're benched.
I love
he's way too cocky.
Too. So from Spit and Chicklets, I'm just throwing this in there. So Matt Merles, he said, what did he say? He was talking about how, like, all of a sudden he just showed up after this comment by Todd McLeod, and he comes out with a tinted visor, like, thinking he's sick. And then he said, like, also Doughty's not one to talk because the night that he's blaming the team, he gave away the last two goals. He was responsible for giving away the puck that led to their final two goals. So he's like, this team's in shambles. Like, they have, PLD gets called out the next game. He comes out with a tinted visor thinking he's sick. Like, just, they're falling apart. They have lost 12 of their last 14 games. Like,
and Colorado just spanked them last night, 5-1.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, Drew Doughty probably thought himself like, ooh, I'm going to pull a Devontae, call it my teammates, and we're going to go 12-2 after that. Yeah, no, buddy, you still lost. You still got spanked.
And, I just love from the very beginning that I hated the PLD trade for LA. I was like, what are you doing giving up? We all were. I know all of us were, but we were vocal about it on our podcast saying, like, what are they doing giving up Velarde, Iafallo, Kupari, and a pick, and then giving him $8.5 million when he's asked out of two teams now? We knew, and we were called out for it by people saying that, no, he's the best thing that's going to happen to this team. Try beating Kopitar, Deneau, and Luc Dubois down the middle, like, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, here we are. Teams are decimating them. And guess who's killing it? Winnipeg Jets. Rightfully so.
He doesn't seem like a good teammate to have. He just keeps bringing them down like this because he thinks he's the best player in the room. He's God's gift, the second coming of Christ. Like, I'm sorry not to be disrespectful towards the guy, but you know what? Show your teammates a little bit more respect. Maybe come down to earth with the rest of your team.
You know what?
You're not that great, man. It's showing.
You have a guy who has a big ego in Columbus, Ohio. Then he gets sent to Winnipeg, Manitoba, and he has a big ego. You can't send him to Hollywood. It's not going to end well. He's going to want to live that life. It's in his blood, obviously, to be the man. You send him to a place where it's party central, girls everywhere, sunny out all the time. You can go to the beach any day you want, 365 days a year. It doesn't matter. Like, that is not going to go well. Just like, it's like Trevor Zegras. Got to get him out of California because he can't play there. But Pierre-Luc Dubois has showed he can't play anywhere. You can put him in
he's
Winnipeg,
just waiting to go to Montreal.
Yeah.
Well, and you can't trade him to a team where a coach, is like knows what he's doing either, because Pierre-Luc Dubois is not going to offer him anything. So he's going to be like, why should I even play you, man? Like, why'd you want to be here if you can't play for my team?
Yeah.
Be a team player. Don't stop being selfish.
Either you're stuck being trash, like in a cool city like LA, or I don't know, you're going to be stuck on the fourth line on any other team because you have no other value.
Yeah, you know what they should do? I don't know if this could work, but like pull a Samsonov, right? Just send him down to the minors for a little bit. Let him just bench him for a while, Just get him to that farm team. Just let him sit out for a while and then get him back into the mental state of like, hey, I got to be a team player and I'll get called up when I'm ready because I ain't showing I can play at an NHL level right now. Even though I went third overall.
I have to check.
I feel like it's already too far gone. I feel like his ego is not coming down to earth whatsoever. He's going to be a guy where it's like, oh, if you're going to send me down, trade me. But no one's going to want you, man. Not with that contract, not with that attitude.
Yeah.
And where is he? Okay. So they did one thing smart. He has no movement or trade protection. So they could send him to the minors if they chose to because he doesn't have a no-move clause. He has no trade clause and no modified no trade clause. But he's 8 years, $8.5 million in year one. of 8. Like, this is Jonathan Huberdeau, Johnny Gaudreau level bad, but at least those are good dudes. Like,
LA's
he's
kicking
not a
themselves
good
right now.
dude. It's not what they needed when they thought that they were
Sucks
getting
to
him.
suck.
Like, after they made so many good moves, like adding Vladislav Gavrikov, right? Like, honestly, moving on from Sean Durzi, who, by the way, was just noted as the #1 offensive defenseman in the league. He has 100 score rating as an offensive defenseman and 95 as a transition D and 14 as a defensive defenseman. Like, he's terrible defensively, but he was rated the #1 pure offensive defenseman in the NHL by whatever underlying stats it was. But, you know, they've made moves, and it's good to see these moves, you know, getting Kevin Fiala, getting Philip Deneau. They just, you know, Quinton Byfield turning out, Kaliev's turning out, Laferriere's turning out. Like, their young players are playing well. They bring in Trevor Lewis again to be like a veteran presence, and all they needed, honestly, was Gabe Velarde and Alex Iafallo to continue their growth, and they gave that up.
Did you say Arthur Kaliev in there?
Yeah.
I do believe last I heard about Kaliev, he did the team is giving him the option to talk to other teams, I believe.
Really?
Don't
I
quote
didn't
me
see
on
that.
that, but I thought I seen something around that.
Oh. Could be. He plays first line power play and he plays good minutes, so I don't know if he would really want out, but maybe something happened off ice. You never know.
Maybe I'm even thinking of somebody else, but I could have sworn it was Kaliev's name that I seen. Because he was a second rounder, right?
Yeah.
In his yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think it was him, but who knows if even the source is reliable. So
True. Fair enough.
I just
That'd be interesting. We'll watch that. We'll pay attention. All right, let's get into some suspensions because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it became suspension city. Brendan Gallagher suspended 5 games by player safety for an illegal check to the head of Adam Pelech. No one knows what Brendan Gallagher was thinking in this moment. No one knows how he only got 5 games. Again, the NHL player safety misses the mark because he clearly targets Pelech's head. He's a short player. He's like 5'10". Pelech's 6'3", and he jumps. Well, doesn't jump, but he raises his elbow as high as he can and just cranks him right in the jaw after the puck's gone. Like,
dirty.
How does it get like? And I liked what I heard when someone said like it was the announcers on the TV. Brendan Gallagher is not a dirty player, but that is a dirty play. Like, he's done some suspect stuff in his career, but he's no Brad Marchand and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, they were winning 3-1. They did end up, I think, losing this game, and they tied it up, I believe, on his 5-minute penalty. Like, I don't know. I don't know what made him do it, and he's lucky he only got 5 because the NHL player safety can't figure their crap out.
Yeah, and he had his hearing over the phone too. Basically, just a little slap on the wrist.
And that's just it. You can only suspend up to 5 games with a phone hearing, and in-person hearing is 5+. So as soon as everyone heard it was a phone hearing, they knew it was under 5 games or 5 games. Like, then we go into Trouba, who gets his 2-game suspension for elbowing Dorofeyev on Vegas. I don't know if you guys saw that one. Right off the face-off. So face-off happens. He's on the board side, and Dorofeyev, they both come into the center, and the puck goes back to the corner on Trouba's side. And when he turns, he absolutely intentionally, he lifts his elbow and he pretends like he's turning, and he just whacks Dorofeyev right in the side of the head, cranks him with an elbow. How Trouba also only got 2 games, I don't know. This guy's been suspended and on the edge of so many dirty hits forever, and he only got 2.
I'm going to throw in a side note on that too. NHL public enemy #1 is back. Nick Cousins, just being a dirty player again, as usual.
What did he do this time? I missed it.
Oh, he's just fighting again. It was with Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Just being an absolute rat. Still going after players.
And then Arizona played...
Not even necessary.
Arizona played Tampa right after they played Florida, and Michael Kessler-Ring got fined the maximum amount for cross-checking. After Lawson Krause scored, Kessler-Ring skated straight over to Tampa rookie defenseman Max Crozier, cross-checked him to the ice, like decked him, then cross-checked him while he was on the ice, and then Crozier got up and Lawson Krause continued to beat the pulp out of him. So I didn't see what happened before that to make them mad at Crozier, but they took out whatever frustration they had on him. So Kesselring got his fine of 2,500 something maximum for cross-checking. And we have the...
Sorry. I was just going to add to the... I'm surprised Huberdeau didn't get anything for his checking from behind call.
I think that they deemed that was enough punishment, the 5 in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was his punishment.
And I mean, it did look like he knew that he messed up after the play. If anyone watched that game, he hit the guy into the boards, he fell, his face was all bloodied. And Huberdeau knew immediately he messed up. But I was surprised he didn't even get like a little fine or a couple games. He was in tonight against Chicago. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy that, you don't hear too much about being a dirty player, but...
Yeah, I mean, he made a mistake. He's never been suspended before, so I think that played into it. They're like, you got a 5 in a game, that's pretty much like a fair punishment.
Yeah, it's kind of like a warning.
Yeah. And then in the PWHL, the first ever suspension, Boston's Taylor, I'm going to butcher this, it's Wankowski, I think, was suspended 1 game for a high hit on Ottawa's Amanda Brullier, and she absolutely destroyed that girl. Like, straight through the head. She was doing a dump-in, fully extended, and just came through the chin. Just
180'd. She absolutely just 180'd.
Yeah, 180. Oh, it was a big hit. Now, again, I'm loving the hitting in women's hockey. If it comes with a suspension here and there because they cross the line, I'm all for it. Just police it the right way.
And she's wearing a cage.
Yeah, and they're wearing cages. But it was great. I loved it. And now we go into some controversial stuff, just based on who you are as an NHL fan. But January 27th, this is per Hockey News. January 27th marks the 11,318th day that Gary Bettman has been the commissioner of the NHL. This makes him the longest-serving leader of any major league, including the NFL, MLB, or the NBA. So I'm just going to say congrats to Gary Bettman. For all the things people hate, he's grown this game a ton. We wouldn't have the expansion teams we have without him. Yes, it's mostly in America. Canada has kind of suffered a bit. No, Canada's never won a cup with a Canadian team under him as commissioner. But at the end of the day, the owners are getting more money. The game's played faster. They got rid of stupid rules. The rules are getting better. For the most part, he's changed hockey for the better. And I think the game would be worse without him. But it'll be interesting to see whenever he steps down. I think 2 years is all he's got on his contract. And then he's probably going to retire because he's like 71 or something.
I would also like to just go on the record and say, Gary Bettman, I don't care. It's been 11,000 days too long. You got to go, man. Sick and tired of hearing your name popping up everywhere. Nobody likes you. Nobody likes him.
You cheer for an American team, bud.
Doesn't matter.
Why are you complaining?
You actually cheer for a team that he expanded there. You actually cheered for a team that he expanded to Colorado from Quebec City. That was Gary Bettman.
Hey, man. I'm sure the league could be pretty good now. He can retire with a pretty penny and a pension. So,
when a Canadian team wins a cup, but I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear it from you.
Hey, man, I'm hoping they win a cup, man. We got 2 very good teams this year, in the Oilers and the Canucks. Okay,
Jets?
They can do it, especially the Vancouver Canucks.
What about the Jets?
Nah.
Imagine
saying Edmonton over the Jets.
I would honestly say the Jets have the highest.
The way they're
chance.
going right now,
they're deep
right now.
The Jets. Now the Jets are slipping. They are third in their own division all of a sudden, but I mean that's fine.
Realistically, we have 4 teams. 4 teams that could make a good push to the Cup this year. 4.
Ottawa?
Nope. Toronto?
Montreal? No.
Oh, don't even say Toronto, bud.
No.
Have you looked at the
Realistically.
East? Have you looked at the East? Have you looked at the East?
There's no way.
Yeah, I have looked at the East.
Toronto's a middle-of-the-pack team. Tell me they're good.
Who are they bringing in on
They're
defense?
Not the best.
Who are they putting in net?
Actually, I think Samsonov was in net tonight.
Yeah,
They
he's
won
had
4-2
2 or
against
3
the
decent
Jets.
games. Yeah, they did.
They
beat
won
the
against the
Jets, but, like,
Jets.
And you know what? You know what? Good on Samsonov for getting those wins, but Toronto is not a good team still.
I'm not
now.
claiming they're going to win anything this year. I'm saying they're going to the playoffs. But the Canucks and the Oilers have the best chance, the top two I mentioned, that could
picking
potentially
Winnipeg
make it
still.
that far.
I'm just saying right now. So say playoffs started today. Toronto is either playing the New York Rangers or the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, done.
They're going to
Done.
get
It started
fucked.
today.
They're going to
Like,
get fucked.
And you know why? Because they have no goaltending. The teams you just named off have goaltending.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
the Bruins have 2 goaltenders.
Right?
Like, good luck.
Okay,
And
Vancouver's
you can
one.
bet. Go ahead.
Vancouver's one top 6 forward away from a potential Stanley Cup run this year. Okay, Toronto is 6 blue liners, 2 goaltenders away from something like that. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're also a whole bottom 6 core team away.
True. Ryan Reeves has played his
So-
first game since December 14th, I think.
And
So
guess what? He
there's,
scored.
You're benching.
He scored.
Oh, he's
There's
just
not
proven it to
4.
Brad Tree Living, man.
There's not 4 Canadian teams. There's 3. They're all in the West. It is Winnipeg, Vancouver, Edmonton. Those are the only 3 Canadian teams that have a shot.
Okay, fine.
In Winnipeg,
I'm going to switch my answer.
In Winnipeg, they have 2 or 3 major players injured right now.
Kyle Connor just came back, but again, he missed
I think
2 months.
Shifley's injured though. I think
he
Morrissey might be injured.
He played today. Reeves ragdolled him in a little
Morrissey?
scrum. Yeah, Reeves had a hold of him today.
But
I know.
that could
I'm
be
missing Shifley on my fantasy team.
That could be a reason why Winnipeg's slipping down is because some of their key pieces are injured. So,
and I mean hardly. They're at 65 points. Dallas is 66. Colorado 67. They're 1 win away from being first in the division again. But how it looks is loss of 3 for Winnipeg, winning 3 for Dallas, and winning 3 for Colorado. So they're just on a quick little cool down in play, but they're by no means playing bad.
yeah.
All right. What do we got? Oh, a new team. After talking about expansions and everything, we have the ECHL announcing the 30th member of their league. It will be the Bloomington, Illinois
Singular Bison.
Singular Bison. 1 Bison. Not the Bisons, not the herd, none of that. No, they are the Bison. Singular. I mean, I like we'll put this picture up. I like the logo. I like the name. I think it's kind of funny. For an ECHL team, this is not the NHL. They don't need to be the most professional. And I know that because I'm a Tampa fan, and they have Orlando, and Orlando just wore pink Whitney jerseys the other night, and then their jerseys today was a naked polar bear because it was whiteout night. So they're just absolute goofballs. So I'm all for goofy.
I love that the ECHL, it just seems like they're having fun with the league. I mean, they're bringing in guys that are the Growlers, bringing in a guy that's 47 years old.
Yep.
Because they needed guys like that. Now, you know how much more fun the NHL would be if they're like, okay, we desperately need a player tonight. I mean, yeah, you got your AHL team that you can call from. But how sick would it be to see an NHL team go to an ex guy that played for them 10, 15 years back and being like, yo, man, you feel like suiting up tonight?
Yeah.
Or, doing what the Solar Bears did, like you're saying. They had 2 new jerseys within a week, right? They had the sick pink Whitney jerseys, which looked dope, and the whiteout jerseys also looked sick.
And they always do something Halloween. Usually it's a skeleton. They've done a skeleton that glowed in the dark where the white ribs and everything turn green, and they turn the lights out and the players are skating around glowing in the dark skeletons. They just have fun with it. And I don't know why the NHL is so strict on you get a home, you get an away, you get maybe an alternate, and then you can have 1 special event jersey, a stadium series, a Heritage Classic, but then that's it. Whereas these teams are just go for it. You want to throw a jersey on? Let's do it. Pink Whitney night, we got it. Whiteout, we got it. Skeletons, go for it. Doesn't even have to
they're
have
not just
your logo
warm
on
up
the front.
Well, even look at the AHL though. Look at the Wranglers. They had a poker night, poker gambling night jersey. That was a sick looking jersey.
Yeah. The NHL just tries so hard to be professional. You know what? If every league was like the NBA in terms of jerseys, that's the one thing I love about the NBA. They have a jersey for everything. They have Lunar New Year. They have Chinese New Year. They have
City jersey.
They have the city jerseys. They have their state jerseys sometimes. Like, they just have so many jerseys, and it's like,
Oh, they
this is
make it
fun.
fresh.
Yeah,
They make it fresh.
You know what?
Something new every time.
It's a money pit, because I've bought NBA jerseys from Golden State's arena. They were $300 jerseys still, same as a hockey jersey, and it's half the fabric.
Well, in Dallas, I could only imagine that if Colorado released a new, like, say Colorado released a new jersey every month, I bet you'd be on their website every month buying a new jersey.
And I bet I'd be living on the street.
How many?
Because my entire paycheck would be going straight to it.
How many Avalanche jerseys are in Dallas's footage right now?
3.
So I got the 3, and then I probably got like 6 more in the one of the bins over there.
But, like, you know, the NHL says, like, you know, they're a business and they want to make money. Well, man, if you bring in like 5 different jerseys per team per year, like, you're just adding profit, because there's going to be the guys that want to collect every single one of those jerseys. Even the ugliest jerseys that the league have brought out, I'm sure there's going to be buyers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why Gary's got to go, man. Fucking bring in a younger, funner, more, you know, more lenient commissioner that's like this. They'll allow stuff like this to happen.
More
MLB even does it, too. Major League Baseball does a lot of shit like that, too.
More fun.
Sorry, more fun.
All right, well, we have some sad news from your Calgary Flames, Dak. The waiver wire hit your team's depth hard. You lose Nick DeSimone and Adam Ruzicka on waivers. Let's just get your little rest in peace farewell to these guys.
You know what? The only one that I don't know, it doesn't really pain me, but the one I kind of hate to see go a little bit more than the other was Ruzicka. But at the end of the day, it does come down to the business. Unfortunately, he got picked up. Unfortunately, Arizona's picking us off like nobody's business. You know, all the best to him, but he hasn't really been a consistent bottom 6 guy. I don't even think he's going to be a top 6 guy ever in his career, but who knows? Maybe he turns it around in Arizona. But I could, at the same time, though, as a Flames fan, that's just adding more space to the younger players that I think Flames fans want to see more ice time to. Like, we got Peltier coming back. I mean, awesome story with Shillington being back on the ice. Coronado's back in the NHL. Zary is still red hot. Like, the direction they need to go is young, and it's clearly showing. It's clearly showing, and it's working out for them. Maybe not in the wins wise, but, you know, in the excitement wise, like, the youth movements, it's there.
Calgary, they got one of the best depth of a farm team in the Wranglers. They got some good prospects. I know you know that, but I'm just saying they got one of the best in the CHL for a farm.
You know, staying a below average team in the league, it's only growing my excitement, because you know where that's going to land them in the draft, boys. Iggy's coming home, baby, and I want to see it. I'm here for it. Yeah. I hope they get it done.
Our Kamloops Blazers, who had Jerome Iginla, missed out on both Iginla sons. So now we have to hold out hope that Calgary can get both Iginla sons, because that would be awesome.
If not both, at least one. But both would be sweet. Just one. Make Calgary happy. I'm sure Jerome would love to see his son in a Flames jersey, and who knows, stay long enough to break all his records. How sick would that be?
Yep.
He's already almost breaking his junior records, his dad's junior records, which is crazy.
Almost?
Point per game player, yeah.
It has.
Yeah, he passed.
Sorry, has.
Well, talking about records, this week was crazy. It just happened that everyone decided to hit milestone record points. We had Steven Stamkos hitting 1,100 NHL points. Then his teammate, longtime friend, Victor Hedman, getting 700 NHL points. We had 1,000 games ceremonies on the same day for Matt Duchene and Lars Eller. Lars Eller being the very first Danish player from Denmark to play 1,000 games in the NHL, so congratulations to him. Then we had kind of the next wave, the next generation. We had just a couple weeks ago, McDavid hit 900. Now we have Draisaitl hit 800. Austin Matthews scores his 40th goal, and he becomes the fastest Maple Leaf to 600 points. So this is just building up. And then in Ottawa, we had Claude Giroux hit 700 assists. And to go along with Draisaitl's 800th point, the Edmonton Oilers won their 16th straight game, one behind tying the record of 17 straight games. So that's a lot to digest. I don't know if you guys want to throw in on any of that, but that's some pretty incredible list of players there that all are reaching some good milestones.
Yeah, no, definitely congrats to all those guys. I mean, for Stamkos especially, I mean, I don't think getting 1,000 points or even over 1,000 points is, easy in today's game unless you're a superstar like McDavid, Matthews, and Draisaitl, who I guarantee will hit over 1,000 points. But and I think Stamkos, that being said, is still a point per game player through his career, no?
Yes, he is. He only hit 1,000 games last year at the end.
Yeah, so I mean, that's...
Yeah, he hit 1,000 games after he hit his 1,000 points. So
yeah, so that's a feat in itself to be able to be a point per game player throughout your whole career, right? Like,
exactly. And to do it with the injuries he's had, and Tampa wasn't good in the beginning, and he fought through with some bad teams and really helped them and became the leader that he is today. So yeah, it's awesome to see him just continue to get more and more. And he is Tampa's all-time franchise leader in points. He took that last year, but every point he gets is another one on that franchise lead that Kucherov is very quickly coming for, but still, he will have it for a few years. And then Hedman at 700 points. This is, I know everyone always hates that I fight so hard for Hedman, but 700 points for a defenseman is crazy good. Yes, Cale Makar did just hit 300 in way less of a time. So again, we're not debating Hedman versus Makar here.
279.
But Hedman getting 700 points in around 1,000 games as a defenseman is still an incredible feat, and I think it really puts him up there as one of the best defensemen in the last 10 years to play the game, in the top 5 for me. I would say top 3. Too many people would argue me, so I'll say top 5. All right. We got, AHL news. Also, little side note, Logan Stankoven is the first player in the American Hockey League to reach 50 points in 38 games, and he's also a rookie, leading that league in points, getting to that milestone, and he's from our hometown. So we got to give him his love because he is absolutely killing it. And we got to say, Dallas Stars, make the call here. All right, get this kid in the NHL. It's time.
Right, Zellweger made his debut for Anaheim. Let's get Stanky up for the Dallas Stars.
There's no reason to keep him in the minors anymore. I mean, maybe because you want to have him a top 6 role, but you see that happen with too many guys where you wait for the top 6 role to open up and it never does, and you just kind of ruin the guy. Just let him play.
I mean,
right, they chose Sam Steele over him.
Unfortunately for me, I would let Stankoven ride it out in the AHL this year. Do your thing all season long, and then next year you're forced. He forces your hand to make that call. If he doesn't make the team next year, then I think that's a big mistake on Dallas's part. But I think right now, as a rookie in the AHL, I don't think you're hurting him too much. And I mean, he's only just going to get better. I think Dallas lets that ride out this year. Unless they have like a big major injury with a big name guy, then maybe he'll get the call. But me personally, I'd let him ride out in the AHL and see what he can do by the end of the year.
He's having a great start in his AHL career there, but talking about next year, he could definitely get that starting role with the Dallas Stars full-time next year. That'd be perfect. I thought it was a bit of a snub having Sam Steele make the team out of camp before Stankoven, but you know what? it's not all in all bad because he's having a killer year, his first year with the Texas Stars. So yeah, if next year he does get that starting role, then I think it'll all work out.
The only thing you'd hate to see if is he never gets a call up and Dallas wins the cup. You'd hate to see that, and then say they don't win again, and it's like, oh, he missed his chance to like win the cup as a rookie or whatever. Like that would have sucked to see, but I also don't think Dallas is going to win the cup, so that's just my opinion. Because every time they have to rely on Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin to carry them through the playoffs, that doesn't happen.
Or hope Ottinger's hot enough to block every shot against them.
Exactly. Like they have Ottinger, they have Heiskanen, and they have Robertson. That's great. Those three will do their thing. We know that they're consistent players. But every time you look down the fucking bench and you're like,
Seguin, Ben,
yeah,
Duchesne.
Yeah.
Rupe Hintz is an animal too.
He's good, yeah, Hintz. And then you know what you're getting from Pavelski. Pavelski should have that C on his chest over Ben. I've thought that for a couple of years now. I love Joe Pavelski, and he's always just standing in front of the net, taking slap shots at the face.
And you know what? Speaking of Pavelski, a guy that's helping, or at least was in preseason, helping Logan adjust to today's game. So again, he's a leader, and he's helping your future potentially on this team. So yeah, no, you're right. You're right with, Pavelski's definitely deserving of that C. But Ben's also been there longer with a C than Pavelski has, I believe. So
yeah,
it's kind of a tough call to just strip Ben.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Pavelski's a great mentor. He's been building Wyatt Johnston, adjusting as well to the Texas atmosphere. Like he's been living with him the last 2 seasons now. So
that's one thing that's a problem too, though. When you look at like your captain, would you let your rookies live with Jamie Benn or Tyler Seguin?
Maybe not Seguin.
You or Ben. I don't think Ben's married. I think he's a party animal. So I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. Look to see if he's married.
Mario Lemieux, his first season, Crosby was in town. He let Crosby live with him.
Yeah, but he was married and had kids.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And he was kind of like, it's Mario Lemieux, but I don't know. You just get like Seguin and Ben are just kind of like, they're still teenagers at heart. They're not like guys like they're not John Tavares, Mario Lemieux. Pavelski,
I mean, Seguin's bringing in blonde bombs watching his games, man. So yeah, I don't know.
He's still dating out there. He's Scotty Upshall, man. When I hear Scotty Upshall stories, I'm like, you don't want a guy like Scotty Upshall with your rookies because he's gonna take them straight to the Rippers and have some fun. So yeah, that's the kind of guy that Seguin is. You're like, hey, Seguin's been doing this for 10 years, going out late, then coming to practice till like, where's the ruck? Like, I don't know, I lost him last night somewhere.
Yeah.
3 a.m. it just was gone. So I don't know. I just went home. Oh, that's good. We trusted you with our franchise center, and you lost him. That's good.
Yeah.
Could be dead somewhere. That's fine. That's what I would see Seguin doing. All right, let's jump back. Once again, more news on this BCHL, AJHL, Canadian Junior Hockey League whole merger situation. So, from the 5 teams that said they were leaving the Alberta Junior Hockey League, here's their statement. Our 5 teams remain members in good standing with the Alberta Junior Hockey League, Canadian Junior Hockey League, Hockey Alberta, and Hockey Canada. We have not entered into any agreements to leave any of those organizations, nor have we made any announcement to that effect. We have full intention of fulfilling our commitments to each of those bodies for the remainder of the 2023-24 regular season and postseason. We do not agree that any AJHL team game should be canceled or postponed. We share in the public's disappointment in the current situations. We strongly believe that our players should be back on the ice playing hockey and competing for an Inter-Pipeline Cup, and we will do everything we can to bring this unfortunate situation to a positive resolution. So basically the AJHL, or those 5 teams, just shot down everything the BCHL said in their press release, which the BCHL would not have done without agreements. So this is these teams tucking their tail now. and going to hide, saying like, no, we need to play games, realizing they're going to lose out on thousands of dollars of revenue to end the year.
Which is true.
And then, so this is from the AJHL. It's a bit winded, but I'll read it quick. So AJHL seeks clarity on conflicting statements. The AJHL is aware of the contradictory statements coming from the BCHL and the 5 defecting clubs and the negative impact they're having on our players and their families. The denial made late Thursday night by the 5 clubs directly contradicts the BCHL itself, which said last Saturday that the unsanctioned league and the clubs had committed to terms for the teams to join the BCHL starting in 2024-25. In addition to contradicting the BCHL, last night's statement is at odds with earlier statements from the 5 clubs. That includes a media comment from Brooklyn Bandits president Paul Seaton, who said 2 days ago that nothing has been signed yet, but an agreement has been reached and our board has agreed to do it unanimously. The information wasn't supposed to be out until May 1st. Given the suggestion by the future clubs that the BCHL issued a false statement and the inconsistent and conflicting information coming from the 5 clubs themselves, the AJHL is calling on the BCHL and the clubs to provide immediate clarification. Until such time as the AJHL is satisfied that there are no plans for the 5 clubs to depart the league to play unsanctioned hockey, the current scheduled decisions remain in place, which is canceling their games. So, what a cluster this is. Like, if you're leaving, just say you're leaving. If you're staying, just say you're staying. That was not clear at all.
And you don't help your case by, in your statement, you saying we want to, or we want to commit to our duties for the rest of the 23-24 season, but yet you deny the claims the BCHL just said, but you've only given the rest of the season
exactly
at your commitment. Like, you don't help your case.
Yeah,
with all the politics aside, I still feel bad for all the players.
Just come out and be like, yes, it sucks, but come out and say there's an agreement made. Like, cat's out of the bag. Yeah, you're gonna lose money, but
if you think an agreement was made. If you think it's the better business decision, then just own the business decision.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what? Yeah, we did it because over the next 10 years, we're looking at X amount of dollars in revenue versus, X amount of dollars in the AJHL. That's why we're doing this. Fair enough. You're going to lose your money this year and you're going to make more money next year is what you're doing it for. So just do it.
Well, the losing money aspect, like, you're going to lose money out of this season no matter what. But I've been watching some people online, like, they were saying like they're already getting ready to start expanding, bringing in 5 new teams, like, because the Alberta Hockey League, like, there's a lot of good markets, but like, A, where are you going to pull them from? And 2, how quick do you think you're going to even make these franchises, magically come out of thin air? Like, for next year, like, I don't think it's possible. I think you're going to have to wait a few years before you start breaking ground, because these were some of the 5 best markets.
Just like the BCHL had the KIJHL underneath it, I don't know what the league is, but there is a league under the AJHL, I'm pretty sure. So there could be 5 teams that they pull from that league up to make it so that
promote them,
promote them, and then that way, like, whatever the 5 biggest cities are in that league, right? They'll promote them to allow them to come in, but then again, then that league is short 5 teams, or maybe they'll do like halfway, 3 and 2, right? Like, they'll only take 3 teams, something like that. But there will be a way that they can make it work quickly, I think, but it'll take some time. And then, like, maybe they could, we're borrowing these teams for 1 year while we find expansion options, and then we will return them to their league, like something like that. Right?
Think of it this way, though, too. Like, the British Columbia Hockey League and the Kootenay League here in British Columbia, the KIJHL, they have teams in Washington State. The Kootenay League still does in the Spokane Braves. The BCHL did in the Wenatchee Wild before they were promoted to Major Junior to the Western Hockey League. So they could probably pull maybe a team or 2 even from Montana or Idaho that borders the southern Alberta border. It's plausible.
For sure.
Boys could get a team, or Helena, or I don't know, somewhere in Montana, but you could expand to the States. if
True.
that arises.
So this is also from Jason Greger. He said, things I don't understand. The AHL doesn't want the 5 defecting teams in the league anymore. Okay, however, they won't let them play games versus each other unless they were previously scheduled. So out of respect for the players on the 5 defecting teams, we will allow scheduled games among these clubs to proceed. That's from the AJHL. Here's the games that they have. Brooks Bandits have 5. Sherwood Park has 5. Black Falls Okotoks have 3, and Spruce Grove has 0 games versus any of those teams. So they're the ones that are really losing out. They have no games the rest of the year. So if the AJHL doesn't want them in the league, how can they stop them from scheduling games against each other? How are they allowed to stop kids from playing yet claim they respect the players? Seems like another power flex out of spite. Hockey Canada, which oversees the AJHL, takes harsher actions on defecting teams than they do sexual abuse. Priorities seem off. So that was a tough statement there. And then
Sound off. Wow.
This is Craig Button. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if the NCAA starts allowing CHL players to play as soon as maybe 12 to 8 months. I think Junior A hockey in Canada will become a lower tier hockey in the future. So I think Hockey Canada right away, as soon as the BCHL defunct from them, went, okay, you think that you guys have the best way to get kids to college? Here, let's make an agreement with the NCAA that our entire CHL crop that isn't allowed to go to American college can now go. What does that do for you? What does that make you special, BCHL? Doesn't make anything for you. You're just a league then. Now anyone can go to college from any of our leagues. Anyone can go to the AHL or what. They can pick now, and then it's over. Why would you not play in the Western League if you can do that?
Exactly. A lot of power moves.
And then from Jeff Merrick, Dallas, you mentioned this one to me in the CHL news. Sounds like this is the last CHL NHL top prospects game that will be taking place. Look for the event to be replaced with 2-game series between the best prospects from the CHL versus the best prospects in the United States. So all of a sudden, Hockey Canada is just like, boom, let's just change things up all over the place to really throw a wrench in what independently the BCHL is trying to do. They're just going, we're taking it all. There's nothing you can do here.
I also heard a rumor that Belarus and Russian imports may become a thing again for the CHL. It's just a rumor, don't quote me on it, but I did hear a report that may be coming back into spotlight soon.
I think that would have to wait until whatever's going on over in Russia and Ukraine settles down still. Because Trudeau can control the immigration process on the players, and he just wouldn't let them in. So, but let's jump to an ex-Flame again here, Nick Ritchie. He finished his 8-game suspension after snapping and punching a player in the back of the head repeatedly, just for Karpat, as soon as that suspension ended, to release him. So Karpat says that they cannot offer Ritchie a big enough role in the team for the rest of the season. He's free to look for a place to play elsewhere. When he came up, we knew he was a high-risk, high-reward style card that we thought was worth a look. However, he was not able to rise to the role that we would have needed him to play. That is from Karpat sports director Mikko Milikoski. So basically saying, we don't want you after you did that stupid thing. Because he had he had 5 points in 10 games. Like, that's not bad. It's not great, but it's not kick off the team bad.
I remember once upon a time that Don Cherry on Coach's Corner was so livid that they drafted William Nylander over Nick Ritchie. And I'm sure to this day he is eating his words.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, Nick Ritchie hasn't panned out anywhere, unfortunately.
Anywhere, yeah, exactly.
His biggest
he only liked him.
storyline. His biggest NHL storyline was being traded for his brother. That, like, the first ever brother for brother trade in the NHL. That's his biggest storyline. That's it. What else did Nick Ritchie do? Sucked in Anaheim, sucked in Arizona, sucked in Boston, sucked in Calgary. See ya.
You know, when you make a comment like Don Cherry did. Like, he said, oh, Nick Ritchie, he's over 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's the big kid at the draft. And then you go after the small kid in William Nylander. And he's saying, like, they sent him back to Sweden for a year to save his life. Like, dude, this guy came back to the NHL better than ever. And he is one of Toronto's superstars. And Nick Ritchie, like you mentioned, has not amounted to anything in the NHL. So I'm pretty sure Toronto is laughing in your face, and they knew that what they were doing in getting William Nylander.
Well, and you know what? I think that's just the mindset Don Cherry has had, probably just because of that era of hockey he's from, right? Like, he's got the Daryl Sutter mindset. If you're not over 6 feet, you're not going to make, or if you're not over like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", you're not going to make it in the NHL. But yet, it's showing now with the game changing that these smaller guys are just going to blow right past you.
Yeah.
So I think that's just, the mindset comes in, and, not every big player is, they're not going to be able to keep up with the game.
Big is actually a detriment now. It's reversed. Big is slow. Big doesn't have good hands. Big's good for nothing but fighting. Like, it's not like that anymore.
Well, they're more for a lockdown game. That's it.
You got Tage Thompson.
Yeah, he's one. He's a unicorn.
But like, that's such a rare breed now to have a skilled 6'4" or 5 player to be that skilled.
6'7"? He's like 6'7". That's massive.
Either way, that's just rare to see these days.
Yeah. Okay, we get to jump into some tarps here because we had the Stadium Series jerseys released for New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York Rangers, and New York Islanders. And this was some pretty heated off-camera discussion here going on because I actually saw that everyone hates the Flyers jerseys. I get that, but I like them. I do like them. They're ranked 4th out of 4 here. Okay, I want everyone to understand that they are still the 4th out of the 4 jerseys here, but I like them. I think that for me, they're good, and everyone loves the Devils. Devils is everyone's number 1. I have them at 3. I just think that they could have used something else to pop, something other than black and red. I know the red is nice. The red is nice. I just think that the black it just doesn't do it for me. So I have them 3rd. I have the Islanders 2nd. I'm a sucker for letters. Most people hate them. That's fine. I know I'm an idiot. I like the letters. I like the crossbody. I know, Dakota, you compare them to the Oilers. You can tell me how bad I am in a second. But the Rangers are number 1. I got the Rangers number 1. I think that jersey's sick. I like the sleeves. I like the jerseys and the letters being like 3D. I like it all. So you guys can go ahead and just tell me how wrong I am now, but I like them all.
For me,
you're gonna get roasted.
Well, for me, New Jersey's 100% number 1. It's clean, it's simple. The red pops, the black logo, it pops. Like, it's so basic, it's nice. The Rangers are definitely my 2nd. I like the look of it. It's almost got like a college or a reverse retro look to it as a Stadium Series jersey. It suits the team. Yes, the Islanders are just the color scheme for me is as copy and paste as Edmonton. I think, to me, I think they should have brought out an orange jersey, not a dark navy blue with orange, because it looks way too close to Edmonton's alternates. But, I still have it ahead of Philadelphia just because Philadelphia's the only one that kind of used, their logo as it's always has been, with just a different type of jersey look to it, but I don't like it. The other three are above and beyond the Flyers for me.
That's true. I don't think the Flyers have ever had a logo on their jerseys that wasn't that logo. I will say that. They've had it in different colors. Like, they had an all black one. They had that silver metallic one a couple years ago. But I don't think they've ever had a logo on their jerseys that was not that logo. If it wasn't writing. I think they've had Flyers and they've had Philly on diagonal.
That looks like the same old Flyers logo to me, man.
Even if they did that,
Exact one.
even if they wrote Philly, man, I think what does it for me is the logo.
Just
I
being
think
the
if
same.
they had Philly or something, or City of Brotherly Love, that would have looked sick.
Yeah.
Like Smashville, what Nashville did a few years ago. They used the nickname of their city, which looks sick. I personally, I'm gonna go with the hosts. New Jersey just sells it for me. Dakota, you basically summed it up perfectly. Like it's just simple, but it's awesome. The highlighter red, it just pops. I'm gonna go second with New York. All right, I am a sucker for diagonal lettering. I think it looks amazing. They used the white, blue, and red. Simple. That's all they needed was that diagonal NYR, and it's different. They didn't go Rangers. They went NYR, which looks awesome. Thirdly, I'm gonna go with the Islanders in the third spot. I'm not a fan, and I'm gonna rip the shit out of these two teams right now. Philly and the Islanders, the PR team, you guys have no creativity, okay? It's like you guys basically were at the end of the deadline. You're like, oh, God, we got to mash this up. Philly basically said, let's use our away jerseys, but let's change the name bar so it stretches across the fucking arms. The Islanders, I feel like a smashed pumpkin when I look at this. Like, this is disgusting. You put Isles, like, not even any cool font. You basically just threw it together and said Isles. You could have used the fisherman. You could have used the lighthouse. But no, what you do, you just put a big old bar, orange bar in the middle, and just said Isles. Like, how bland is that, man? Like, I remember when stadium jerseys were coming out a few years ago, like, it was the talk of the town. Everybody was waiting for their team's jerseys to come out, and they look sick, okay? Philly had 2 stadium series jerseys in recent memory. 2019, okay? And they look sick. They used a highlighter orange with black. And what do they do now? They put their away jersey out there. Looks disgusting to me. No creativity whatsoever. In New York, you can get fucked.
Maybe they went to pitch their jersey, and then the Devils were like, yeah, so we're doing highlighter red with black, and then the Flyers were like, oh, that was ours. And then they had to change up. I mean, they are the away team, so they went white, but I like the name running down to the sleeve. I think that's different than normal. I like the orange right underneath it. I like the orange band. I like the white nameplate with the orange lettering. Like, I don't know. Yes, it's still the worst out of the 4, but I can't say I hate it. And I know
The Islanders are known for this, though. The Islanders are known for this, though, boys. Do you remember the retro reverse? It was a spitting image of their home jersey. They just moved up one of the lower bars just up a couple inches. That's all they did. Like, I swear, whoever runs the PR team for the Islanders, no creativity whatsoever. You guys do a horrible job at designing jerseys. Absolutely horrid.
Isn't it the
New
Mets
Jersey?
ownership?
You killed it, boys.
They just care more about the Mets, I think. All right, let's get into our 2 segments here. Let's wrap this up as we can here. Game day reviews. We put a randomizer on the NHL teams, and we're doing the whole league going through. We're near the end here, so we have the New York Rangers for Dallas, Minnesota for Dakota, and I have the beauty jersey New York Islanders. So go ahead. Whoever wants to start, fire away.
I'll simplify it real quick. I got NYR. You boys had some sick jerseys just unveiled. Igor Shesterkin, Jonathan Quick. Great goalie tandem. You boys are killing it. Chris Kreider, Vinny Trocheck, Keandre Miller, top players. They're doing pretty good. Do I think they'll go far? No.
Can I make one note? Sorry, actually, just on Keandre Miller. I just saw something today. It was like the Rangers have been scored on 140 times this year. Keandre Miller has been on the ice for 113 of those, 81% of the goals against. Not saying he's a bad player at all. Like, some of that's bad luck, some of that's just whatever it is. But like 81%. I've never heard that. I don't know what his plus minus is, but it can't be good at that rate. It could, like, as far as I know, it came from a legit source. So,
and I mean, their goals for to goals against is only about like 19 in difference. Yeah, like their goals for is 161 to 142. So,
yeah, so they've had 2 more goals scored on them since I saw that. But like, if that's true, yikes.
But I mean, hey, they're still top of the Metro.
But the thing is that even a real accomplishment this year? all this, like the Metro was supposed to be nasty this year. Like it was supposed to be a death trap. And then all of a sudden you have the Devils not performing, the Penguins not performing, the Islanders not performing, the Capitals not performing. And it was just like, the Flyers are in the playoffs and they don't even know what they want to do.
Oh, it's open season in the Metro. It's wide open. Nobody.
I think
they're
the
running
whole
away with
East,
it.
the whole East is wide open, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, how often has it been noted that the West is the more dominant side of the league? Usually it's the East, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who's honestly winning the Metro? Columbus. Like, I hate everything Columbus is doing, but at least they're sinking to a pick, and they aren't trying to do anything about it. You have Pittsburgh hanging on for dear life to these old guys. You have the Islanders not getting younger. You have the Devils who are just so injured, it's not their fault whatsoever. The Capitals are just basically watching, like, trying to get Ovi his goals. And then, yeah, Columbus is just like, we suck. Let's keep doing that. But I do hate how Columbus keeps scratching their rookies. I mention that every time. But other than that, yeah. If you have anything else to add, keep going, Dally, on the Rangers. But
I mean, yeah, the last point I made was I don't see them going too far. Yeah, they're doing great in the regular season, but I don't see them going too far in the playoffs. They got rid of Tarasenko and Kane in the offseason. So, I mean, they didn't quite get it done last year. I don't think they're going to get done this year.
But I mean, to still be where they are without those two players who were heavily considered like guys to help this team tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
They're down two key pieces and they're still where they're at. It's not bad.
Same with they're like Boston basically, right? You could be down a lot of key pieces and they're proving you wrong.
Yeah, but I think it's a little bit different because everyone was in the mindset that Boston was almost near a rebuild, as where the Rangers, they're still going to be a team where you almost expect them to make the playoffs. Boston wasn't really expected to.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah. And if you really do look at it, like Carolina's second in the Metro with 61. Rangers are first with 63. Tampa and Toronto haven't been playing consistently, and same with Detroit. But Tampa 59, Toronto 58, Detroit 57 points. They would all be ahead of Philadelphia for third in the Metro, and Tampa would only be one win behind Carolina. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, Carolina and New York aren't really taking off right now, you could say, right? Like, they're not separating themselves in the East. They're just kind of there. Whereas the Panthers have 66 and then Boston has 71, who have really taken off.
Yeah.
You know, like...
I guess I'll go next with Minnesota.
Go for it.
To me, they got to be one of the weirdest situations just from looking at their division. I mean, they're second last in the Central, and the last team is Chicago, but they're 17 points ahead of Chicago, and they're still right there with Arizona. And I mean, if they get hot, they could be right then and there with the Blues, the Predators. I wouldn't quite put them in the Jets talk, but, you know, the top three in that division are the Avalanche, Stars, and Jets.
Yeah.
But the Wild, I don't know. I feel like there's the trade rumors speculating about Eriksson Ek getting traded, Andre Fleury getting traded. So I don't know. Minnesota's in a weird situation. Like, they could get hot and potentially make the playoffs, or they keep going, you know, just keep going straight line and probably not make the playoffs and maybe go for a pick this year. But I don't know. To me, I don't see them being a playoff team. I think they're going to be making some moves. And, you know, unfortunately, I want to see this team kill it. I want to see Kaprizov be an absolute animal. I want to see, you know, Eriksson Ek be an animal. Like, I don't know, it's tough.
Yeah. And, like, I think that the nail in the coffin was Jared Spurgeon's year-ending injury.
Yeah.
Like, with him being done for the year, that's their captain, that's their best defender. They're not, like, what are they for goal differential? They're minus 17 and they just lost their best defender for the rest of the year. That number's not going to get better.
I mean,
Now,
hey, they do have two of the hottest rookies right now, though.
they do.
Rossi
Yeah,
and Fabers. So,
and they
I
have
mean,
Boldy and
the
like,
future's looking bright for these guys for sure. But like, I think this team in the next 2 years they need to turn their stuff around.
yeah. And you know what? If you're worried about your D and you want to see, like, they have a guy like Carson Lambos, like captain of the
100%.
Winnipeg Ice last year.
Yeah.
He's in the minors. Like they have
Kyle
guys
Masters.
in the minors. Yeah, well, I don't know if he's ready.
Yeah.
But Lambos should be ready. Lambos, I think, would be ready to make the jump, at least to get some ice time with Spurgeon being gone. And you just look like I don't remember everyone that they have, but like I've looked at their depth chart.
Cale Addison.
Yeah. Jake Middleton, Cale Addison,
Faber.
He got
Hamlet's
traded
boy,
to
Joe
San
Hicketts.
Jose.
Yeah, but
No,
it's
other way.
Hickett's. I think Hickett's on Iowa though.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
I love Joe, but we know that he probably won't get the call, unfortunately. I mean they'd be smart to call Lambos, but no, it was the other way. Dally Addison was you're right. Sorry, he was.
No, he's traded
San
from
Jose.
Mini.
Right, from Mini
2
to
minutes
San Jose.
to-
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh,
For who was it for again? It was
Oh, geez.
goes to show you how much we pay attention.
no, I remember now. I forget the defender though. It was a.
I just remember he was a
wasn't
stud defenseman prospect for Pittsburgh, so I followed him pretty closely, and I just remember hearing that he got dealt from Mini to San Jose.
That's right. We did break that on the podcast earlier. It was one of our first.
We did
episodes,
quite a few
I
episodes
remember.
ago.
Damn.
But I totally forgot. Well, I might as well. Yeah, they're sellers, I think. But let's do the Islanders, who, like, they're 5 points back at Detroit for the second wildcard spot. Like the league, like where I thought Tampa was toast a couple games ago, I'm not thinking that anymore because all of a sudden that separation factor is there. You now have, like I said, Tampa 59, Carolina 61, Philly 56, Toronto, Detroit 58, 57, and then you have New York 52, Pittsburgh 51, New Jersey 51, Washington 51. There's a drop now. It used to be 1 to 2 points between everybody. Now it's 5 to 10. So that drop, I think, has basically solidified the Eastern playoffs. I think that this is who's going to be in. I think your 8 playoff teams are going to be Boston, Florida, Tampa, Toronto, Detroit, New York, Carolina, Philadelphia. I don't think that that's going to change.
You know what the gross thing is? They're one of those only top teams that you just mentioned that have a minus 23 goal differential.
Yeah. Like, they're barely hanging on by a thread is exactly why I think, like, they just don't have it. Poor Ilya Sorokin is being left hung out to dry all game, every
His
game.
team leaves the bench with a minute to go.
Yeah.
Getting pumped by Nashville. They just signed Patty Waugh too, new head coach.
You can sign Patrick Wall you want, but guess what? They
It ain't
won
gonna
his
do it
first.
for you, Chief.
They won his first game, and now they're on a loss of 3. Like,
Wow.
what do you do now? Right? Like, there we go, Patrick Wall. They didn't get the bump. They didn't get the coach bump that the Oilers got. They didn't get the coach bump. Well, even Minnesota, they got a coach bump for a minute. Boom.
Nor
They
did
fell off
Ottawa.
again.
Firing
Yeah, well,
DJ
Ottawa.
Smith. Like, they didn't.
Ottawa keeping, what's his name? I don't even remember his name. Jack Martin.
Jack Martin, yeah.
Keeping him is a terrible idea. Like, I don't know. I just think that the Islanders give Patrick Waugh next year. And that's kind of thing. And that they get younger. Whoever is a UFA that's old, let them walk. Just let it happen. It's time. You guys need, like, Islanders need a semi-retool. Not a rebuild, but they have no prospects. Think of all the draft picks that since we've been growing up in our teenage years that they've had that haven't worked out. Michael Dalcol, Josh Ho-Sang,
Seth Griffin.
Griffin Reinhart.
Griffin Reinhart, yeah.
Like, they've just drafted and have all been busts other than Matt Barzal.
Atu Ratti, if that name wasn't already mentioned.
They traded him for Bo Horvat.
Yeah.
Right now their whole entire hope in their organization is Barzal, Horvat, Pollock,
Dobson,
and Dobson,
and Sorokin. That's their 6 core. Everything else is a question mark. They don't have a goal-scoring winger. They brought in Horvat, who's a center, to score goals for a center in Barzal. Like,
Anders Lee's not your guy too, buddy.
and I like Lee and I like Brock Nelson, but they're middle six forwards. Like, yes, they're great NHL players, but you need William Nylander on your top line with Matt Barzal. Like, they need, like, honestly, you Islanders, you guys lost Tavares. If Steven Stamkos comes available in the offseason, you need to axe whoever you have to from your contracts and throw money at Steven Stamkos to come play right or left wing with Barzal or Horvat. Like, get a guy who can score 40 goals in there, you know?
They need something.
They need something. They need lots. Their defense is, again, one of the better young defense cores in the league, but they have a 5-year stretch that those guys are going to be good still. Same with Barzal and Horvat, but the rest of it, those guys are in their 30s. And it's just like, you guys your core has been in their 30s for 5 years now. Going back to Leo Komarov, like, they're still hanging on to Clutterbuck, still hanging on to Martin, still hanging on to Cizikas. I love Casey Cizikas as a fourth-line center, but is he a fourth-line center in the NHL still? That's the question, other than playing with Clutterbuck and Martin, because they get walked on as a line. They used to be tough and hard to handle, and for the playoffs, sure, you want those guys, but if you don't get into the playoffs, they're 3 old guys who can't do anything but hit and fight. So, to me, the Islanders are going to stay out. They're not going to get in. I think the 8 teams are solidified. Pittsburgh's too far back. New Jersey's too far back. Washington's too far back. And the Islanders are only 1 point ahead of them. So, what does that tell you? All right. It is Battle of the Tarps, gentlemen. We have our first NHL team that pulled up in our randomizer. NHL, Carolina, and their alternate versus from the Ice Hockey League again, Salzburg, Red Bull, and their home. I'm extremely disappointed that our first NHL jersey is Carolina, and that it's an alternate. And
I'm disappointed it's against the league it's in.
The Ice?
I'm just disappointed that the matchup is against an NHL team versus this league team, you know?
Yeah. But, like, Carolina, of all the years, they've had this jersey. So basically, their home jersey for the last 2 decades is now their third jersey because they wear the blacks with the 2 flags on it as their home. So now we're just looking at a Carolina Hurricane standard home jersey as our awesome NHL alternate jersey. And it's like, if it was last year, I looked at their stadium series that was sick because it was like black with the light or the highlighter red. Basically reverse of what the Devils did, and that looked cool. But now we're just looking at a home jersey, and then we have Red Bull Salzburg, who, you know, I think I'm going to pick, and I know this is about tarps, this is about jerseys, but I'm picking them for that helmet. Let's go with a white and blue checkered helmet. I'm loving it all day. Those guys, they're getting my vote. I like the 5 on the top right of the chest. I like that the captaincy looks cool on this guy. You know, Mazda, terrible car company, slap that on the pants. I like it. It has some flavor. And I do like underneath the Red Bulls, there's that, I don't know if you call it the Swiss Alps. I don't know what it is. But it's a cool diagram underneath the Red Bull logo. And yeah.
I mean, I know you called it the checker look, but I think they were going with the Red Bull energy drink can look.
True.
Because that is the Red Bull energy logo. And you know what? I'm gonna pick it. I'm gonna pick it for that reason.
Yep.
Carolina missed out. I dig that this team uses a energy drink logo, and I dig that they made their helmets look exactly like the energy drink cans. So
I'm gonna go with this one too, boys. I know that their logo itself is actually the Red Bull advertisement logo, but still, this is one of the few jerseys we've come across in Battle of the Tarp segment, a European team that doesn't have too noisy of a jersey with advertisements. I like this jersey. You guys basically spelled it out for me too. You got the simple Mazda, you got the simple Red Bull as the logo, and then you got the 5 and the C on each side. It's not too noisy. I like it. It's more simplified than what we're used to seeing.
Exactly. And yeah, I just I think that Carolina missed the mark. Like, they could have done, cool, you guys changed your home jersey. That's fine. Go for it. But don't
But
just
move
make
on,
your home
move on
jersey.
from your old jersey, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't just make that your
Reminiscing.
alternate. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But going on from there, we have last week's winner, which we voted as the PWHL's Ottawa. That won our TARP vote of the week versus HKM's Volin. And then, so now we have this is going into our semifinal. So next episode is going to be our semifinal. It's going to have Merritt Centennials versus the Winnipeg Freeze in our January semifinal. And then it's going to have Ottawa PWHL versus the winner of this TARP battle, which will be up on all of our polls on social media. You can check it there and either repost or like to vote. And you can vote for, we have Carolina Hurricanes alternate jerseys, which are their old homes, or the Ice Hockey League Salzburg Red Bulls home jerseys. So I think that covers everything for episode 21 of Gameday Tarps. As always, find us on social media, find us on YouTube, and find us on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And thanks for listening. Have a great night.
And hopefully I'll be wearing this jersey next episode because hopefully this team beats the Ravens tomorrow. So
Go Chiefs, go.
Go Chiefs.
Go Ravens.
You disgust me, Dallas.
All right, have a good night, boys.
Peace.